Sometimes you see your friend in a physical body, and sometimes it's obvious to you as you focus upon your friend that that friend is tuned into the whole of that which they are. It's apparent to you, isn't it? Because when your friend is tuned in, tapped in, turned on, when your friend is allowing the fullness of who he or she is in the moment, it is evidenced to you by their mood or attitude. When they're frisky, they are not only the physical focused being that they've come to be, but they are vibrationally attuned to who they really are, so the whole of them is present in the moment. You know what we mean, don't you? And when you see someone sad, worried, dismayed, depressed, angry, even frustrated or overwhelmed, you have to realize that that friend is showing you who they are in their physical format, and always a part of their non-physical perspective, because truly you cannot separate yourself from that. You can pinch yourself off pretty good. That's why you feel negative emotion. But you can always tell the degree to which you are witnessing alignment or not only in yourself, but in those that you are interacting with. Sometimes you see even a child in a negative fit, and you have to wonder what could have happened in that little child's life that could be so dramatic as to separate them. That's too strong a word, but we'll use it to get a point across, to separate them from the wholeness of who they are. And we don't want you to get too carried away with that idea, because from our perspective, it's really right that this child throws a hissy fit when he is separated from who he is. Because you are supposed to be who you are, and when you're not who you are, it is not supposed to feel good. You never said, and we knew all of you before your emergence into these bodies, and we know you now, not one of you ever said, I'll go forth and adjust to negative emotion. I'll get used to it. It's abundant. Bad things happen on the planet Earth where I'm headed, and I'll adapt. I'll let them socialize me into the acceptance of negative emotion. And if you have the benefit of being up close and personal to any of the new little buggers that are coming forth these days, you got to be recognizing that they want to feel good, and when they don't, they really don't. In other words, the more you recognize who you are, and the more often you tune into the vibration that is really you, then the less able you are to tolerate negative emotion. And that is such a good thing. Sometimes you say, is it normal for all hell to break loose in my life when I begin becoming more deliberate? And we say, yes, in the sense that the more you deliberately tune yourself to the vibration of your source, the less you will be able to willingly, or in even a tolerating sense, abide in your own disconnection from that. The thing that we want you to come to realize, and perhaps this gathering and the conversation that we will share together will help you, is that you're the only one who can do anything about it. There's a tendency to feel negative emotion because of something that you are observing, and to be justified in how you feel, because by the standards that you've learned on your planet, by the laws and rules that you've learned, even by the morality that you learned from your parents or your peers or your religion, even from your sense of human decency and fairness to one another, you have picked up opinions and beliefs. And when you are looking right at something that with everything that you have physically become, you believe is an injustice, and you feel a desire to cry out in defense of your position, and oh, we know how much you would like others to side with you, courts, rules, laws, mates, friends. We know how you seek their support. You would like them to side with you in defense of your position. We know how that feels to you. But we want to say to you, look nowhere for upliftment. Look nowhere for support. Look nowhere for understanding than to the core of that which is you. Because there is not one other person on the planet who has walked in your shoes, who has known what you knew when you were born, who has deciphered life as you have deciphered it, and has put forth the rockets of desire that you have put forth. And as close as they are to you, and as much as they give you lip service that they support you, no one can, because they don't understand. No one understands. We see your world trying to get agreement. You gather together in your groups. You feel strength in your groups. But it is not valid strength. It is bogus strength. It is not true strength. For true strength only comes from the alignment between you and you. So I want to remind you how it is. I want to remind you who you are. You are source energy here in a physical body. And many of you recognize that before you were born into this body, there must have been something. And many of you, you look around your planet, you know, smart as you are, you haven't managed to get enough dirt together to launch another planet into orbit. So you know there is something more to the picture of life than what you are doing here as physical beings. We want you to understand that in your physicalness, you are an extension of that which is source. You are not less than source. You are that which is source. You are a physical extension, a unique and valuable, every single one of you, extension of that which is source. So as you made the decision from your non-physical perspective to come forth into this body that you know through this personality as you knew that the larger part of you would remain non-physically focused and would be the source of the energy that is you. And you knew that you would never stand alone, no matter where you were standing in your physical environment, because you knew then that the stream of energy from which you have come would always be restoring you, renewing you, refilling you, being you. You knew that you had that support. Now that is support, that backup. Talk about backup. That is who you really are. You knew that you would come forth into the physical environment and that this vast, diverse, magnificent environment would inspire from you personal genius, important you, new desires that would be unique unto you. And you knew that those desires would shoot forward advanced rockets into what we are calling accurately a vibrational escrow, a creation that precedes manifestation. Every manifestation is preceded by a vibration. First there is thought or vibration. Then there is thought form, which is just thought that's been thought upon longer. And eventually there is a manifestation that matches the thought. So this environment in which you are living was set into motion long before you got here this time. And you were born into a platform that gives you stability. It gives you continuity. You were able to be socialized into an environment so that you could understand how to move about and live and survive in this leading edge, time, space, reality. But you knew when you made the decision to come forth that more important than every aspect of that which is physical would be your conscious connection to that which is your source. Because you knew the whole story. You knew that you were source energy and that a part of that would come forth into this body and that this personality would evolve to that which is more. And most important of all, you knew that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And you knew that in every deciphering of life, which happens all day, every day, that you would be sending forth rockets of creation, rockets of desire, rockets of expansion. And you knew that those rockets were not only for the physical you knew it was for the expansion of who you really are. You knew that you came forth to expand as you. You said, I'll go forth and I will subject myself in my physical form to the contrast that will inspire the new idea. And the source within you said, and we will remain non-physically focused and anchored to the well-being of the universe. Even if you get out here, pioneer human being, even if you get out on the leading edge and you find something to fuss and worry about, in your fussing and worrying, good will come, because when you know what you don't want, we know what you do want. And we, Source said to you, will give our undivided attention to what you have carved out. And we will hold the vibrational attention to it, calling you never-endingly toward what you have asked for. Never taking our gaze from you, always being that which you have asked for. And you said, I know you will. I've been through this before. You said, I know you will, and I know I will have guidance that will let me know in every moment how well I'm doing about that. I know you will, you said. I know you will hold to the tenets of well-being, pure positive energy source that you are. And I'm willing, you said, to go out and bang around in the contrast, to come forth with new ideas. And I know that my new ideas will become a vibrational escrow that Source will then actualize around in a vibrational sense. Do you feel the power and the importance of that which you are? Now, the reason we give you this story in this emphatic way is because we are wanting you to understand who you really are and how you're really vibrating. And more important than that, we want you to feel that the powerful law of attraction is responding to this vibrational escrow that you have constantly given birth to. We want you to understand why you feel inspired. We want you to understand why you feel the compulsion to do the things you do. We want you to understand what that feeling of passion and interest and that feeling of appreciation and love are. We want you to understand that when you're tuned in, tapped in to the vibration of your source, that you are then and only then living life in the way that you intended as you decided to come forth. Not one of you said, I'll go forth, I'll see what I don't want, and I'll stand in justification of what I do want by pushing against what I don't want for all of my life. Not one of you said, I will defend to the death, I will push against, I will wage a war against poverty, a war against crime, a war against drugs, a war against terrorism, a war against teenage pregnancy, and I will use all of these things as my reason to give birth to an improved world, but then I will do something unique. You did not say, I will hold myself in opposition to the dream I've dreamed. Not one of you said it, and yet every time you sustain negative emotion for any period of time, you're doing exactly that. You're beating the drum of and activating the vibration of and separating yourself from who you really are. And that's why sometimes you don't feel so good. Every time you don't feel good, it's not because someone else has done something to you. It's not because you've been forsaken. It's not because you have been wronged or cheated. It's not for any reason other than you're giving your attention to a thought that is not a vibrational match to who you really are. And who you really are is a longer standing, bigger vibration that is the core of that which you are. Who you really are is such love that when you don't love, you cause separation. Who you really are is so confident that when you're not confident, you cause a separation. In other words, it is your job. You said that you would come forth and pay attention to the way you feel, and that you would deliberately, thought by thought, guide yourself back into alignment with who you are. So, when you are one stream, and law of attraction is responding to one stream, you can feel the power of your being, the power of your well-being, the power of your influence. When you are tuned in, tapped in to this vibration that is really you, when you are a vibrational match to who you really are, and focused here in this physical body, life is so sweet. Sometimes you say to us, I'm not sure it was such a good idea to come here. Because you say, I was source energy, I was pure positive energy, and I know I'm not that now, so why did I do this to myself? If I was pure positive energy, and now there are things for me to focus upon, injustices and such, and I feel so bad, why would I subject myself to that? Why wouldn't I have just remained where it was pure positive energy? And we say, because you understood the big picture. You wanted to be part of the expansion. And you didn't expect to come forth into physical and give birth to new ideas and hold yourself in opposition to the new idea you had given birth to. You planned on letting the surrounding environment inspire you to the new idea, and you expected to turn your undivided attention to the new idea. You knew that you would ride that river of life, that current of life.